thumbnail for today. But anyway, good evening everyone and welcome back to APPF1 Tier 2 for tonight's dose of racing action. I'm Sumo, your commentator this evening, and I'm joined as always by my amazing co-commentator Ghost. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing alright. It's been a busy day, so looking forward to a bit of Tier 2 detox, as it were.
Oh, if Tier 2 doesn't do anything right, it is detoxing after a long old day of work or whatever it is people get up to during the days when we are not racing. But it is round 8 of the championship, and we head to the east for a race at the Shanghai International Circuit in China. This circuit has been missing from Formula 1 since 2020, but we still get to race here at APPF1. 5.451 kilometers make up a lap of this circuit, with 16 corners for the drivers to navigate. This circuit has some tricky technical elements, with the first 3 corners requiring the drivers to be skilled at braking and cornering at the same time, as well as carrying speed. Any insights, Ghost, into the venue for round 8?
Well, I seem to be unexpectedly good at here this last week, so it's a very dynamic track. There's some slow corners, there's some very fast corners in Sector 2, which you've got to be really careful at, especially the curbs. And I think that's one thing that's really important to talk about, the curbs. Obviously, in this new edition of the game, compared to F1 2021, where the curbs were absolutely brutal at every single track, this game is a lot nicer with the curbs, and you can take a lot more of them. But this track, no. Get on the curb, you are gone at most corners, really. So drivers have got to be careful of that.
Yeah, they certainly do. I remember a time back in the when was it? It was the Sprint Championship, I believe. I was racing along for AlphaTauri. I was in a bit of a scrap with, I can't remember who it was for the life of me, but I got on the curb, I spun out, and I ended up collecting him as we went side by side through Sector 1. I believe it was a turn 7, that fast left-hander, that's, I believe, Henry. Is it Henry? No, that's Femi Frostmaster, who is approaching now. Had a horrible crash there, but yes, those curbs are lethal, especially in this year's version of the game. And we'll take ourselves over to have a glance at the championship, and we've got quite the championship fight in these last 3 rounds. Darth Nihilus and Mr. J-Man head into this round level on points, both with 102 points to their names. 7 points back is here in the Williams, who sits in P3 currently, with Lawrence just 1 point behind the British driver. Femi Frostmaster sits on 91 points, with Mannyman and Krauser not too far away as well. So we've got about 5-6 drivers all in contention for this championship. If things go horrible, harder and the fighting becoming even scrappier. Wouldn't you agree, Ghost?
Absolutely. It's getting to the business end of the season now, and with so few points between the top runners, it could really become a scrap. And with obviously Femi Frostmaster serving his quali ban, I'm glad he remembered. I just sent him a message to make sure he remembered. But yeah, he'll start from the back. But we saw him start from the back last week, and but for the post-race penalty, he won the race. So keep an eye on that Alfa Romeo. He is very, very quick.
Yeah, he certainly is. Any safety cars, he'll take full advantage, and we'll get ourselves straight ahead into qualifying now. And we've got quite the session on our hands. I think I'm watching Lawrence right now. One of the many drivers, I think there's been 3 different drivers at the top of the championship standings over the time here in Tier 2. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Ghost. There's a yellow flag at Sector 2. I just think that's the car going a little bit wide. But Lawrence navigating this corner, and it's a couple tricky corners, this one. It's 11 and 12, I believe it is. No, 12 and 13, I believe.
Yeah, it's a tricky set of corners indeed. But I mean, there's a lot of tricky corners on this track. You've got obviously turns 1 and 2, going into turn 3, and then through sector 2, those high-speed corners, and then the double left at the end of sector 2, and then of course that never-ending right-hander onto the straight. Always feels like you're going to lose the rear throughout the entire corner, as Lawrence sets the initial pace at 133.7, but I know he can go a lot faster than that, as LB is 2 tenths behind.
Yeah, he is, and LB joining the front row then for Mercedes at the moment, at least provisionally. I think this is J-Man, a little Manny-Man coming across the line now. Manny-Man of 34.5. It's I can't quite see it because there's a notification in the way, 33.8 for Mr. J-Man. JBS Steve gets himself up in the mix in the Ferrari as well. I think we've got another McLaren making its way through. Daphne Hillis, our championship leader at the moment, coming through this last corner. This can be tricky as well, especially if you run too much on that curb. Here comes the Papaya orange car now. It's a 33.5, and he sets the pace in these early parts of qualifying.
Certainly does. I've been watching Crozer on his lap. It's been all right in the Ferrari. It's not been the greatest lap, but he'll just be happy to get a banker on the screen, so that you never want to invalidate your first lap. That's for second or third laps when you're really pushing and you really going for the best time possible. So he'll be happy to have a time on the board, but it's not going to be very near to the top runners, I don't think. 30, 31, coming around the final corner, 33, 34, yeah, 34.2, so it's not actually that bad, only 7 tenths off of Daphne Hillis, and it puts him in P5.
Yeah, not a bad lap from Krauser at all. I think Matthias is making his way around. I wonder if he's once again on one of those strange qualifying strategies that he's been employing at the moment. It seems he is. He's going around with very little battery. I don't know what the strategy is here, Matthias, but I think he's just getting on with it and getting out there. Tier on and out lap as well. Man sits P3 in the championship. I'll take a quick look. Aston Martin has returned to the grid, and Nathaniel, who I've been messaging for the last couple of hours actually, as he joined the community today. So I'll be very interested to see how he gets on in the Aston Martin here in Tier 2. So good to see somebody, a new face or a new driver on the grid. And a returning driver as well. Well, he's not been here for a little while. Henry, he's in the pits at the moment, but he's back, and he's in the Alfa Romeo.
Absolutely, it's great to see him back. He had to take some time out for exams and all of that, as TS nearly goes for a spin at that dreaded high-speed corner in Sector 2 that I was talking about, but he managed to save the car, but at the cost of his lap. Yeah, it's always nice to see new faces, and I mean returning faces, arguably even nicer. So it's good to see Henry back on the grid, and he's on his out lap now.
Bit of a big moment there for Nathaniel at turn 1. I think that's turn 2 actually there. Had a big spin, did the Aston Martin, so that'll be his lap over for this first run of qualifying. You won't want to do that too many more times, but that first section of corners is so incredibly tricky. You're approaching at such high speeds, especially with the DRS as well, and you're expected to brake and turn and then keep braking and keep turning as you then go down the hill for an even tighter corner, and then you're into a quick change of direction left, and you've got to really focus on the exit on that part of the corner, but be careful with the traction as well. It's such a difficult corner to navigate, and a lot of the time is won or lost there around this circuit, and that's where the drivers are really going to be trying to maximize the best out of the car. But there's a lot of corners like this on this track. I mean, you look at the track layout and it looks fairly turns 1, 2 and 3 look really intimidating, but the rest of the circuit looks quite tame, but actually it's quite deceiving with how difficult the track is, with even though the hairpin at the start of sector 2 and all of these twisty sections, and the hairpin of turn 14. That's one you can always lose some time on if you lock up into there or get it just that little bit wrong on the exit.
Oh, and Tier's done exactly the same thing again as his previous attempt. He is going to be frustrated with that. That is a carbon copy of the mistake, absolutely identical to the mistake he made on his previous attempt. So,
there goes Fido, man, at turn 4. It's a circuit already taking many prisoners at the moment. Well, I think that may be turn 3 actually, but it validated the lap as Fido Man in the other Williams car, so not the best start to qualify for the Williams duo at the moment. Samuel's into the pits. Henry's on a lap right now in the Alfa Romeo. Let's see what he can do. I think Lawrence is ahead of him on a lap actually. No, he's on an out lap. So we'll come back to the Mercedes, but we'll watch as Henry makes his way around. Here's that.
I will say Darth Nihilus did a 32.8 in Tier 1 on Friday, so there's plenty of pace to be unlocked by the Mexican driver. The question is whether Lawrence, Mr. J-Man and LB can match him. I think they're the likely suspects to be anywhere near him today. Although Henry was a quick qualifier when he was here before, so you never know, he might be up there as well. But we're about to find out. He's about to finish his first proper attempt as he comes up to the final corner now.
Yeah, it's donning the fish helmet. Quite the extravagant one coming through the final corner. This doesn't look like the overly quick lap from Henry. Perhaps some dust to settle. To shake off even. Is that J-Man? Is he setting a time? No, he's starting a lap. So we'll come back to the Red Bull driver at the moment. Darth Hillis, I think he is on a lap. No, he's not. He's on an out lap. So we'll come back to him as well. So hard to tell sometimes, especially when the out lap disappears. Let's see. I think it's the other Red Bull who leads the current drivers on laps. He's 10th down on his previous as he's entered into Sector 3.
Well, here is finally actually setting a lap. He didn't make the same... Oh no, he's done it at the long right-hander this time. And he's in trouble of getting beached there. That's a very easy place to get beached, but I think he's just about managed to recover the car. But yeah, I think it's back to the pits here and get some new tyres on.
Yeah, I think so. And Little Manny Man's done the same thing. So we're watching Mercedes and Lawrence. Can he get anywhere near that pole time? He can. It's a 33.2 from the Mercedes, so he displaces Darth Nihilus, but I'm sure the Mexican's going to have a bit more pace under his belt. LB's invalidated his lap, so there'll be nothing for him to set on this second run of qualifying at the moment. Who else is out on the lap? JBS Steve, podium finisher in the race last week, so he'll be looking to continue that form as Ferrari continue to challenge for the top spot of the constructors.
Darth was 4.5 tenths up in Sector 2, Sumo. He is well on the way. JB goes into P4. That's a great lap from him. But Darth, he made a little bit of a mistake out of turn 13, though, so that might hinder him all the way down this straight. So I wonder how much time it's going to cost him. I think he will still take provisional pole as long as he gets the last two corners right. The hairpin's okay, and down towards the final corner, it's got to be perfectly hooked up and a bit too much on the curb, but this should still be good. No, it's a 33.3. He lost a huge amount of time. It was 3/10 he lost to that mistake.
Wow. Darth Nihilus then proving that mistakes will cost you time here in qualifying, and Lawrence is going to be provisionally on pole position as we enter into what will be the last laps of qualifying very, very soon. His Krauser coming across the line now, looking to improve, does, but not by position, only by time. It's a 34.1 for the Ferrari. LB's in the pits. I think Lawrence is on an in lap as well. Matthias is on an out lap. I just saw it change, so we'll have a little look around as well. Let's see what's in the live chat as well. There's 7 people watching at the moment. I know it was 12 a minute ago. 4 likes on the stream. Make sure you like the stream, guys. If you are watching at the moment, it does help me out a lot, and I continue to endeavour to do more and more commentary as I go along. So all the support is very much appreciated. Hello, Lifebound. It's time for some big boy action, says Rick at the beginning of the chat. The Hitty fans are in full force, it seems, and so are the Red Bull fans, although Hamza wants a Red Bull double DNF. So that's a contentious opinion, I suppose. Double podium in comments is Kadir. Double podium for who is who I ask? Is it for the Red Bulls or for anyone else? Fando, which is Fido Man, since he put the power down on the exit of 2 with traction control. It's hard apparently. And Lawson is going for a lap. He's going for a lap. That's LB Lawson.
Yes, it is.
He's currently P5, so we'll have to put a better one in. At the moment, but who else is out on circuit? Nathaniel's out, but he's not on a lap at the moment. Any other drivers out up to anything good. LB's on the circuit, so this will be his final run, most likely, of qualifying as he makes his way around and we start the final ones. I think Matthias is on a lap. Can he get any further ahead? He's currently only ahead of Matthias and those who haven't set a lap. He will start ahead of Femi Fussmaster no matter what he does because of that quali ban. But yeah, that quali ban, well, it's going to make Femi Fussmaster's race a bit more interesting.
Absolutely. Matthias, again, I think he needs to learn that doing 2 hot laps in a row or even more is not the most ideal thing because you're going to waste all your ERS. I mean, it's worked for him. He's just gone P8 with it. But I mean, that's at least half a second, if not more, that he would have lost to having no ERS. So, I mean, he could easily have been in the top 6 with that lap. So there's clearly pace in that McLaren. It's just the qualifying tactics, I think, at McLaren need to be ironed out a bit.
Yeah, they do. Perhaps they've got some Ferrari strategists in for qualifying or something along those lines. But let's watch Tier in the Williams. I think he's going to set off the final laps of this session. His car number 2 making his way through turn 5. That looked fairly clean to me. And he's got to navigate this corner. He's had 2 spins here already in this session. Can he make it through without spinning again? Oh, he's not done it. I've cursed him as he's come through. Once again, Tier is round at that corner. And unless he can get it back on the road and back across the line, I think he might just get it. I mean, the tyres might let him down a little bit. But at least want to set a more competitive time than a 41.5.
Yeah, it's looking like Tier's destined to be at the back of the grid here. That's 4 laps, and all of them have had a spin. So I think he needs to find some consistency on this track. If you remember, Sumo, he was leading the last race we had on this track in Tier 2. We had wet conditions halfway through. He was leading, and then the wet conditions came out, and we both said, "Oh, here we go, it's Tier's element." And then he spun and crashed and DNF. So hopefully he can do better than that today at least.
Yeah, he certainly did. LB Racing 2 tenths up in the middle sector. Then he's got just the 3 corners to navigate as he makes his way into this hairpin now. And then that little kink at the exit of the hairpin, that is a corner, so don't believe, well, your eyes are being fooled a little bit there. That little think that's turn 15, and then 16 navigated for the Mercedes. Can he get anywhere near his teammate? It's P3 for LB. I think that's going to be his final attempt. Nathaniel is out of this qualifying session, so he is going to be in P10 no matter what he does, unless anybody else can navigate, well, set a faster time. Tier is on a lap on, can't get my words out today. Tier is on a lap on the tyres that have had a bit of a spin on them, so they won't have all of the effect that he'll want. I think Fido Man's on an out lap. What are the Red Bull and the Mercedes doing? Manny Man's on an out lap, it seems, as well, and it's Lawrence just behind him on out laps as well. So everybody opting to go around a few times, it seems, and rubbering his tyres. What about the Ferrari duo?
Mr. J-Man was nearly 2 tenths up in sector 1. Hopefully Henry doesn't block him on his lap, but I think they're both on hot laps, so he might be a bit blocked here, Mr. J-Man, but he's 5 tenths up in sector 2, so he's really going to hope that Henry doesn't hold him up here. It's a huge lap for Mr. J-Man in his quest for the championship. Henry has a little bit of a spin, and that's going to give Mr. J-Man a bit of a slipstream. Henry finally gets out the way, but Mr. J-Man could be on a lap for pole position here as he comes into the last 2 corners.
Yeah, how much is that slipstream going to have helped him, and how much is the dirty air of Henry's car going to have hindered him as he made his way through turn 13? Only time will tell, as he's got one more corner to navigate. Car number 7 making his way through, rides the curve just enough. This could be a quick lap from the Red Bull. It is. It's a 33.233. Only a couple of hundredths of a second in it at the moment for him. Here comes Tier across the line. It's a 34.3, so he gets up into P7, so a bit better than the back of the grid.
Lawrence is 2 tenths up.
Lawrence 2 tenths up as well, so this could be an improvement, maybe into the 1 minute 32s. Watching Fido Man at the moment. He's on the back straight, making his way down towards turn 13 now. Can the other Williams get in amongst the midfield and start fighting in amongst there? Fido Man hasn't been at every session lately, but when he is, he does normally get some decent stuff. Qualifying is over now, so these laps are going to be the ones that count.
Lawrence and LB, some brilliant teamwork between the two of them. LB gave him a toe all the way down that back straight.
Federman has spun at the final corner and into the barriers.
I think this is going to be provisional pole for Lawrence. Here he goes across the line, 32.9. That's the time to beat for Darth Nihilus in the McLaren. 2 corners to go for him. JBS Steve is on a lap as well. He's been good recently. Crozer up into P5 with that lap. That's a good effort. Darth a bit wide at the hairpin. It won't have cost him too much time though as he comes around the final corner. Is he going to snatch pole right at the end? That's a fantastic exit. I think he's going to do it. Here he goes, a 32.8. He's just about gotten it. So close for pole, but Darth takes it. Lawrence right behind. What about JB? He's coming around the final corner now. Is he anywhere near? No, he spun on his lap. So that is your qualifying order.
Wow, what an exciting qualifying we've had here, and we said it was going to be the familiar suspects, 2 Mercedes, Mr. J-Man and Darth Nihilus all fighting it out at the top, and it was, and wow, what a thrilling qualifying we've had plenty of those this season here in Tier 2, and with this race and 2 more to go, I'm sure we're going to have plenty more. But for now, we will take a look at the order for this session of qualifying. Darth Nihilus then is your man on pole position, and lining up alongside him is Lawrence in the Mercedes. He'll be looking to continue that championship fight as he sits in P4. Mr. J-Man and LB will share row number 2, and these two will be looking to make some places up on the early laps for sure. The British duo of Krauser and JBS Steve and those red Italian cars line up on on row number 3, I should say, with Tier and Little Manny Man sharing the 4th row. Matthias and Henry will be your drivers rounding out the top 10, with Nathaniel and Fido Man finishing P11 and 12, and Femi Thrustmaster not setting a lap due to a quali ban.
This is going to be a great race. The pace between the top runners is so close, and they're all fighting for a championship, don't forget, and Femi starting from the back as well. I'm sure he's going to make his way through the field with relative ease. Yeah, it's going to be a huge battle between Lawrence, Mr. J-Man and Darth for the race win. All points are absolutely crucial at this point in the season with everything so close. There's just there's only 8 points between the 3 of them. And Femi Thrustmaster only a further 3 behind, and of course Darth and Mr. J-Man on the same number of points heading into this race, so it's all to play for.
It is all to play for, and it is looking overcast, Ghost, so we could have some rain in this race. If one of the drivers in the chat would love to tell us what the weather is up to, then that would be amazing, but I wouldn't discount rain again. Looks like the mechanics all opting for their T-posing once again, except for, I want to say that's not Haas, is it? I don't know which team that is there.
It's probably Haas and AlphaTauri, because they're the only 2 teams without drivers.
Yes, yeah, probably. So all the other mechanics are out on the grid, well, in their pit boxes even. But it does look incredibly grim out there, doesn't it? Let's see what tyres everybody's starting on as we start the formation lap. It's a mix. Everybody opting for at least one of the different tyres. Then the majority of the field going for the mediums. So from P3, Mr. J-Man, all the way down to P8, and including Henry as well, on the medium tyres, with Darth Nihilus and Lawrence, Fiederman and Femi Thrustmaster opting for the hard compound of tyre. Nathaniel is on the softs, along with Matthias as well, so those two will be opting for a quicker and more aggressive start to this race. You got any insights of tyre strategy for us, Ghost, from Tier 1?
Starting on the hards is better. It's far superior as long as there's no safety car. The medium stint and the second stint is just so good. But if the guys on the mediums can overtake, Mr. J-Man on the mediums is massively interesting. If he can get past the top 2 relatively quickly, because the hards are awful on this track. If he can clear them and build a gap, he might have a chance, but like I say, the medium stint with the lower fuel is just mighty compared to the hards, so he will find it tough. But we'll see what happens. Femi as well on the hards at the back. That's interesting. I expect him to go mediums to try and carve through the field, but obviously he's confident enough in his pace that he can get through and stay in a DRS train.
What do you think then, goes? One stop, two stop? What are we saying?
One stop. Unless you're starting on softs, in which case well, I mean, you can do soft hard, but my god, you're going to struggle. They're going to have a bad time, Matthias and Netanel, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. And Lawrence taking out one of the braking boards. If I remember rightly, he hasn't got line on, so he's only hindering himself. But yeah, I think I remember from my time behind the wheel, the tyre degradation around this track, especially on the softs, is god awful. They only last a few laps, probably about four or five laps, if that. So the drivers starting on the softs will only have a small window where they can really feel the benefit of those softer rubber, I suppose. And yes, those on the mediums will be a bit of a disadvantage in their second stint, but Mr. J-Man will want to try and get up ahead. And can LB interrupt that action as well? Only time will tell as we line up on the grid then and we await the lights. Hopefully there's no glitches, but this is a Codemasters game, everybody, so expect there to be many a glitch upon the start. We eagerly wait as Sammy Thrustmaster lines up at the back of the grid. That Alfa Romeo just sliding into his box now. And here we go then for some racing here at the Shanghai International Circuit. It's 5 red lights. Once again, we've got a glitch, but any second now we will surely be underway, and we're off for this race here at the Shanghai International Circuit in Tier 2, and it's an awful start for Lawrence in the Mercedes, and it's going to be 3 wide at the back as well. J-Man manages to navigate around the two of them, the two Mercedes fighting amongst themselves, and there's a bit of fighting as well. There's Matthias trying to make up some places, and he gets up the inside of Lawrence, who has dropped like a stone at the moment, and Darth Hillis and LB are fighting their way through these couple of corners. They're side by side now as they come down in towards turn 5. It's the inside for the Mercedes. He pushes that McLaren out a little bit wide, Mr. J-Man. Oh, he hits the back of the McLaren as well. That invites his teammate up through. That's Matthias up into P2 at the moment on these soft tyres, and we've got a lot of changes of position. Nathaniel has brought out the yellow flag a little bit further back. There's some action a little bit further down the grid as well as Tier is fighting his way through. I've not had a moment to catch my breath. Goes over to you.
Oh my goodness me, what a start. Positions changing all over the place. Darth and Lawrence, as expected, have dropped like stones. Matthias, what a start he had on the soft tyres. He's up to P2 now. What an amazing start for the McLaren driver from Ecuador. LB Racing has the lead now on the medium tyres, so it's all about getting those medium tyres and absolutely running with them. They've got to build a gap to Darth and Lawrence, especially the likes of Mr. J-Man fighting for the title. But there was absolute carnage going on in the midfield. No, it wasn't anything like particularly horrible, but there was just some...
and here comes Henry barreling down the inside of both Tier and Little Manny Man. That was a bit of a brave move from the Alfa Romeo. That might be in the stewards room a little bit later. Side by side they go through turn 16. Now surely this doesn't work out too well for one of them. No, one of them makes their way through. No contact at the moment, but they're all trying to pull out of the slipstream. You saw it down the main straight. There's a penalty for Krauser now. Side by side again for the two of them. The Red Bull trying to go. He dips underneath the Alfa Romeo and his teammate comes through as well. Contact between the two teammates, and that's Femi Thrustmaster off onto the grass, and always good not to take out the Williams along with him, but 7 places gained for Matthias, who's now sat in P2. That advantage isn't going to last too long for the McLaren on those soft compounder tyres, but we have got a race here.
Fred Vasseur's not going to be happy about that one. Henry and Femi making contact, but I don't think Henry could really do much. He was on as much on the outside as he possibly could be. I think Femi just understeered into him, but Femi desperately trying to make up places. Tito Man as well, struggling at the back of Henry. I think Henry's still getting used to the car. It's been a while, obviously, since he's raced here, but the real battle to watch for Femi goes down the inside of Tito again. He's made this move and he's made it stick. Lovely move from the Alfa Romeo, but Mr. J-Man on the back of Matthias, he needs to make this move.
Yeah, he certainly does. Matthias is on the attack now as well. He's going to look to the outside of LB, who goes defensive into turn 14. But the McLaren, I think, has got the speed to go around side by side. They continue to go, I believe. This is an awful camera angle. Pushed out wide. It's the McLaren. J-Man spins further back in the background. No. That's not great for him. But LB manages to fend off Matthias in the McLaren at the moment, who is on a rapid pace.
Oh, Mr. J-Man, what a disaster for his championship hopes. Down to P10, and he's got to fight his way back through the grid again. Oh, it's such a shame for him. But LB and Matthias still fighting at the front. A bit of contact between the two. Darth is being brought back into DRS, crucially, thanks to this battle. And Lawrence is going to try desperately to stay within that range as well, because he knows he has to finish ahead of Darth today. There's no option. He's got to do it. He's too far behind to sacrifice another 3 points to the championship leader. And especially with their mutual rival, Mr. J-Man, having that spin, it's all on today for the championship rivals.
Yeah, it certainly is. De Hillis and Lawrence might be in for quite a scrap a little bit later, both starting on the hard tyres, so their strategy is going to differ for those on the softer compounds of tyre, but the race settling a little bit now. Mr. J-Man's got it all to do. He's got Femi Frostmaster and his teammate in his sights as well. The two Alfa Romeos ahead of the Red Bull, getting very close to the back of that car ahead of him is Mr. J-Man as he looks to recover some positions in this race, but all the drivers staying relatively close to each other, and this is the action that we want to see. And it looks like Darth Hillis is closing in on his teammate Matthias, so it might not be long before a position change between the two McLarens at the moment, but Lawrence lurks it in the background as well. These guys will be going much longer and later into the race. I'd expect Matthias to be into the pits in a couple of laps time. That's Krauser.
Krauser and Henry at the same place, it seems, but I think it was completely unrelated. I think it was two separate spins. But Femi now on the outside of Mr. J-Man is LB and Matthias side by side through turns 1 and 2.
Oh, it's happening all over the place. And Matthias is up ahead of LB. He leads this Grand Prix. First time he's led a Grand Prix here in Tier 2. And he's going to try and run away with what little tyre advantage he'll have left on those softs. I'm sure they'll start to come into the others as well. But the two McLarens and two Mercedes, will be fighting one another tooth and nail, I'm for sure. All aboard the Matthias train for the top 4.
Yeah, Mr. J-Man just following Femi at the moment, but Femi is driving absolutely expertly in that Alfa Romeo to get it up to where it is with those hard tyres, which are horrible on this track. It's a fantastic job he's doing so far, but he's got no ERS left. Mr. J-Man right behind, he can see that flashing red light, so he's going to know that Femi is vulnerable, but he's got Netanel behind him as well on the soft tyres, so it's still all to play for between these three here.
Yeah, it really is, and it's battles all up and down the grid at the moment. We'll run back toward the front as the DRS opens up once again on that Mercedes. Some awful camera angles at the moment. Defensive goes the McLaren. LB going to squeeze to the inside, side by side once again for these two. And Darth Hillis is going to go all the way around the outside of LB, and it's going to be side by side for the other McLaren now. Side by side into turn 16 they go, and who's going to come out in front? Darth Hillis forces LB a little bit wide, and it's going to be the Mercedes behind the McLaren duo. It's McLaren 1-2, Mercedes 3-4. LB has a little look to the inside of one, but finds no way through for the time being.
He's still having a look as Darth leaves in the room, but LB, he's not been able to use those medium tyres to their full effect. The hard tyres are up with them, Lawrence and Darth, and it's all because of Matthias. He's the spoiler effect here on those soft tyres. Is LB round the outside? I don't think he quite expected to make that move, but Darth Nihilus just about leaving him enough room, and Lawrence just thinking, come on LB, get on with it. I need to stay with these guys as Netanel's retired in the pit lane, unfortunately, on his debut.
Ah, that's a shame for Netanel. He would have wanted to do a bit more on debut than that, but that's sometimes the way racing goes, unfortunately, as the drivers navigate turn 10 now. And it's 1-2 for McLaren, 3-4 for Mercedes, and you've got Tier and P5, little Mannyman 6. With Femi Frostmaster up into P7 from the back of the grid. He's doing well. There goes LB. He's had a big tank slapper there, and that's going to send him behind his teammate, and maybe Tier might get involved in this as well. He is. He's going to close in. It's a 5-car fight at the front coast.
It certainly is, and Tier's not out of the championship battle either. He's still sitting P3 in the standings as the two McLarens just working together for now, but Lawrence, he has to stay within DRS here. I think he's going to. Those soft tyres are going. They are going. Matthias, not a lot of life left in them, and you can see now by the fact that he's struggling to keep up with or to stay ahead of his teammate and Lawrence behind. Femi gets a track limits penalty, which will frustrate him, but LB, huge error from him. He's down to 4th, and fastest lap from Mr. J-Man as these two championship rivals as well continue to battle for 7th place at the moment. Femi round the outside. Mr. J-Man desperately tries to cut him back, but no way through. And these 2 seconds is the gap.
Lawrence, he's had to brake very late and he's gone well off the track. That's going to invite his teammate back up the inside now, and that's going to drop those 2 McLarens. So if those Mercedes keep making mistakes, as they have been, then they're going to find themselves out of striking range of the McLaren duo, and Darth the Hitters could easily run away with this race, and Tier now is going to be a threat to both the Mercedes drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's changing every lap, it seems, the environment of this race, or I can't think of the word, but you know what I mean, complexion of this race. Crozer getting past Tito Man further behind as Lawrence tries to stay within DRS, but LB is, as you say, out of range of Darth, who is now going to pass his teammate Matthias. No ERS left as the 2 McLarens swap places, and Darth leads this race in dominant fashion now as the 2 Mercedes swap behind them as well. But Matthias is not done.
He's going to fight back against his teammate. No team orders here at McLaren. They're going to be racing tooth and nail as they head down towards turn 16. But it's going to be our championship leader who emerges head in the corner and crosses the line. It's a start lap 7 at the moment, but Matthias still not done. He's going to go and look around the outside.
Whoa, contact!
Contact!
Darth is round, and he's behind the 2 Mercedes. He's incredibly lucky to get away with that with no damage. He's just done a 360, but he's round again. He's hit the curb on those hot tires, and Lil Manny Man now trying to find a way through. But Darth is going to be absolutely furious about that. His own teammate taking him out while he's fighting for a championship. Lil Manny Man round the outside. Mr. J-Man's here as well now. It's all happening. No, he's spun just as I rode on board with him. Mr. J-Man's round. Henry's retired in the pit lane as well, as Mr. J-Man down to P11. It's his 2nd spin of the evening, but Darth Nihilus, 2.5 seconds now between him and the top 4. Matthias still leads this race, but when is he coming in? Surely soon.
That'd be some strong words there, I think, from the cockpit of Darth Nihilus. So probably not safe for the stream to hear, but he'll get his head back down and get back into this race for sure. Zach Brown won't be overly happy with Matthias at the moment. The man's got no ERS left in the tank on tyres that are slipping ever further away from being in an operating window, and now Lawrence finds himself in a good shout of leading this race.
He does indeed, but he's going to have seen what happened between the 2 McLarens, and he's going to think, I'm scared of overtaking this man. But Matthias dives into the pit, so that frees Lawrence. He's going to have DRS as well, and it's a Mercedes 1-2 with Tier following behind. Remember, he's still in this championship battle. He's not far behind, only 4 points if I remember rightly. So he is well in this as well, and he could be leading the championship after this race if something more goes wrong for Darth Nihilus.
Yeah, just have a look on that. We'll fact check that one, guys. It's 7 points behind the leaders. Is Tier. He just needs to finish ahead of Mr. J-Man and Darth Nihilus to try and catch up in there, because and he needs to finish ahead of Lawrence as well. Lawrence is 1 point ahead, so Tier well in this championship fight at the moment, and he's got LB in his sights at the minute, and there's action all over. I think Krauser and Fiederman have been trading places lap after lap after lap, so there's a bit of action going down there. We'll try and catch as much of it as we possibly can, but absolute drama at the moment. Rick says Japan 89. RJ Blair has tuned in, says Legends in the booth. Thank you, RJ. What in the Ferrari strat am I seeing, says Lifebout at the moment. Jesus, what the F is this track? It says Hamza at the moment as this race is heating up.
Tier had a big moment, sorry to interrupt you, Sumo, and Darth is now right behind him for P3. The McLaren's got a great opportunity here. Crozer, it looks like he's lost 2 places. I don't know quite how, maybe a half spin, but Darth Nihilus, he's not able to get on the back of Tier. Tier just about staying ahead as Darth has to just follow along, but he'll be hoping that Tier drags him up towards the 2 Mercedes, and that is currently exactly what's happening. And Femi's here as well.
Yeah, Femi lurking in the background, I was just about to say, and he's come all the way from P13 and he's now in the fight at the front. So this man in the Alfa Romeo, not one to be counted out at all. We've got some excellent drivers here in APPF1 Tier 2, and there's a big fight going on for third at the moment. Our championship leader has had a big moment with his teammate, who is now on the medium tyres. So he is going to be on his two-stop strategy now. So he'll hope to try and make that as best as he can. That first stint would have definitely helped him out. He was up 7 places from the start at the moment, and he's got so much work to do to continue. It could be a good result for both the McLarens at the moment, but Darth Nihilus is still going to be searching for Tia at the minute as the Mercedes look to run away with this now. There's going to be some teamwork between these two, I think.
Yeah, definitely, although LB is 2.5 seconds behind his teammate, so not much opportunity for teamwork, but LB's certainly going to make life extremely difficult for Darth Nihilus. I'm sure if he ever gets an opportunity to get past, LB's going to try and hold him up as much as possible, but Femi Thrustmaster's here as well, but he does have that 3-second time penalty for track limits, remember, which I'm astonished by. I don't know how that's really possible, given that any touch of the curbs will send you...
Again.
Oh, that's 3 times! 3 times for the man in P2 in the championship. He is having a terrible, terrible day here in China, and he's going to be hoping that a safety car eases his fears. But at the moment, he is set to lose a huge number of points in his bid for the title.
Yeah, and look, Tia's got some pace in that Williams, I should say. And he's slowly reeling in LB, and that's what he's got to do to try and keep Nihilus behind for the time being. Both of them fairly low on battery. LB's got 70% left in there, so maybe take some notes from the Mercedes pair, guys, as they seem to be on the ERS saving. But Tia, look at that pace in the Williams. He's closed up and he's within striking distance now, and 4 cars now fighting for P2.
Absolutely, but Lawrence has that 2.5 second lead, and he's going to be hoping to extend it and control this race as it stands. He's looking very good, but it's China. It's so easy to lose it round here, as Tito shows down at turn 4 there.
Yeah, he does. There's so many tricky corners and traction zones, and that will see J-Man up another place. But we've been seeing all the action down towards turn 13, and Tia is looking very racy in that Williams. Oh, that's a little bit of a moment there. That's going to invite Darth Nihilus. He'll be all over that, I'm sure. I'm not sure. I think Tia just got DRS, so that'll help him down the straight at the moment. But it's going to be 3 cars. Darth Nihilus is going to strike on the Williams, and Femi Thrustmaster's looking for a way through as well. It's going to be 3 wide into turn 13 now, and nowhere for the Alfa Romeo to go. Inside line for the McLaren. Tia tries to stick it around the outside, and then strips back for the Alfa Romeo as he's going to look back, but he's got no way past Darth Nihilus at the moment, so Tia drops 2 places in 1 corner.
Oh, he's going to be gutted with that, but none of them have any ERS left. They're all blinking on their red lights at the back, and meanwhile LB is just trying to keep them at bay. He knows Lawrence needs the gap because Darth is so quick when he gets in his groove, but Femi, right there, Femi, Darth, Tia and Lawrence, all the guys fighting for the title, all in this top 5 at the moment, as Darth now right behind LB, but you can guarantee that the British driver is not going to make this easy for the McLaren.
No, he certainly isn't, and LB will be playing the ultimate team game, I think. I think James Vowles will be over the radio saying, LB, you hold these guys up and we'll get Lawrence the biggest gap possible. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do. And Darth Nihilus, look, he's having to slow down a little bit to cater for LB in front. He's got some pace, that McLaren.
LB is definitely deliberately slow through those corners, Sumo. Absolutely, there's no way that he was that slow on merit. And look at the gap, it's gone up by 2 seconds while we weren't watching, and it's going to continue to go up as long as LB holds this up. And what an exit he got out of that turn, is that 13? And Darth is not going to be able to get anywhere near him, especially with LB having more ERS. And Darth Nihilus
is creeping in the slipstream. Ghost is going to look to the outside. It's the Alfa Romeo side by side. Once again, we've had so much action here at the moment, but no way through. The outside line did improve. Look to the switchback. Doesn't quite get it as they head down towards 16. Darth Nihilus defending that place well.
LB in, but he's done his job. He's lost Darth Nihilus at least 2 seconds there to Lawrence, and now Femi is going to be free to chase the McLaren. It's planned to perfection by LB and Mercedes. Femi Thrustmaster currently sitting right behind, but he is looking so racy today, from 13th on the grid, remember, and he wants to win this race, I'm sure, or at least get himself a podium to make up for last week.
Yeah, certainly so, and he's doing a great job now, and he's going to have that McLaren well and truly in his sights, and it's going to be quite the scrap as they continue on. All these guys on the same strategy, remember, Lawrence, Darth and Femi Thrustmaster all on that hard compound strategy. I'm sure T will be in soon. He'll be hoping to try and get an undercut on these guys if he can. Matthias will have has come out, well, he's got one more stop to make unless he takes those mediums all the way to the end, but he's come out fairly ahead of Lawrence as well, the big undercut for the McLaren at the moment. Well, not Lawrence, LB I should say. Lawrence hasn't come in yet, but yeah, Matthias could still be a factor in this race.
He absolutely could, and he can take the mediums to the end. It will be horrible, but he can do it. It's definitely possible. As Femi now with the DRS, here he goes on Darth Nihilus for championship points. This is crucial overtake. This could be. Darth is going to fight him down to the hairpin, but there's no way to switch back. It's brilliant racing from Femi, just leaving Darth enough room, but not enough that he can get the switchback done. And Femi up to P2. Darth a bit wide on exit in desperation as Lawrence leads now by 5 seconds, and Tier is in this fight as well again.
Yeah, he is, and I think he had a bit of a moment out of turn 13, did Tier, but he keeps finding himself in because these two are fighting. And look, Ghost, that's gone up another second, that gap to Lawrence. So the fighting is helping them as well. So Mercedes could be well in here for a race win. Lawrence, look, could be untouchable.
And yeah, we can't forget about Matthias. Remember, he didn't spin, he just pitted, so I mean, he can take the mediums to the end. I would say, I'd hazard a guess that he's going to stop again, but who knows? He is sitting there in P6 at the moment. He will be ahead, I think, just about of Lawrence when he does pit. So, but it will be very, very close, and Lawrence is going to be on cold tyres when he does exit. So it could still get dicey here, and Lawrence is going to be a bit worried to see Matthias ahead of him if that does indeed happen.
Yeah, he certainly will. It's only going to slow him down even more. Mr. J-Man's in P5, but he looks 14.3 seconds back. An awful start to this race. He'll definitely be hoping for that safety car, especially when he does come into the pits, which I believe will be very soon as the pit window starts to open up a bit more for the rest of the field. And the two Ferraris, I think they double stacked, but they've both come in, but they're way down the order at the moment, and they'll need to do a little bit better. But I think they'll have Red Bull for company, so while there's a fight at the front for the lead, there'll be a fight for the top places of the Constructors' Championship.
Absolutely, Ferrari need to get back into the Constructors. It's not been a good race for them so far. Tier is into the pits. Will Mr. J-Man follow? Yes, he will. So both of the only remaining medium runners from the start have come in for their scheduled stops. But Darth Nihilus still fighting Femi as LB now sets the fastest lap on those hard tyres, so they can be fast, but the mediums, once you see the hard runners come in for the medium tyres, they are going to be insanely fast. And Mr. J-Man just coming out the pits now in P10, well down on his teammate.
Yeah, he's crucially ahead of Krauser, which will be good for the Constructors' battle at the moment, but there's a battle brewing between JBS Steve and Little Manny Man at the moment, and we'll keep an eye on that as we keep going. But we're watching this battle toward the front. It's Darth Nihilus and Femi Thrustmaster fighting their way through. They've had a fair few scraps in their time here in APPF1 Tier 2, and they're going to add to that today as they continue along. We'll watch as the McLaren, it's not going to be close enough, I think. It's all about the exit onto this straight for your attack, and if you get a poor exit, then you're going to be on the back foot as you go in, no matter how much slipstream or DRS or ERS that you have in the bank. But Darth Nihilus wisely choosing to save some battery, and Femi Thrustmaster needs to do the same, because Darth Nihilus will soon have more battery in the tank than that Alfa Romeo and will have much more of an advantage. RJ Blair or Ryan Blair in the chat says Tier 2 better than Tier 1.
Lawrence on the fastest lap on 14-lap-old hards. If that's not a statement of intent, I don't know what is. Darth Nihilus still stuck behind Femi, but that gap's increased by half a second to Lawrence this last lap. So the Mercedes driver, he's still looking for this title, and he is going to try and stamp his authority on this race.
He does. Fido Man now into the pits, so the first hard runner from the start coming in. I think he actually might have started on a different compound at the time. I had to come in early. I can't remember. We'll have to fact check that at the moment. But let's see. Ryan Blair says if Matthias went to hards, it would have been interesting. Two stop will surely kill him. Still chance for a safety car.
Well, we'll see. Lawrence, still, he's going to have to get past Matthias. I'm pretty sure he's going to exit the pits behind the McLaren driver. So he's going to be a little bit worried about getting past him after he saw what happened to Darth. So we will see. But Darth is right behind Femi, but we've seen the Cameroonian driver just gets a much better exit out of this right-hander. But it's not that much better this time, although I don't think Darth is still close enough. DRS open, but half a second I don't think is close enough unless he uses some ERS, which he's not going to.
No, you can see he's closed a little bit there on this onboard shot that I've got here, but at the moment he's not all that closer than he was the last lap. But he's definitely reeling him in slowly, and he's saving the ERS. He's making sure he's going to be ready to pounce when he does pounce. But I think the pit window is going to disrupt this battle a little bit. I think. Do they come in at the same time? Do they come in at different times? And there's as well that track limits penalty for Femi to contend with as well. He's got a 3-second time penalty, remember. So if anyone finishes within that time with him, then he's going to lose places, and that's not going to help his championship fight at the moment. It's only going to fuel Darth Nihilus, because he'll be looking to break away from J-Man, who he sits on equal points with at the moment. And with 2 rounds left, every point is going to matter.
Absolutely, as Tier now sets the fastest lap, and Mr. J-Man, just as we were talking about him, sets the fastest lap on those new hards. A bit of a twitch from Femi there. Could leave Darth a bit closer coming into the next DRS straight. Yeah, the championship really hotting up here. But it's interesting. I thought someone would try and undercut, specifically Darth, on lap 15, but I think that chance is gone. I think all the hard runners are going to be coming in this lap, all of the top 3. So the undercut potential is lost, but I know from the elite race on Sunday, undercut is massive around here. So it's surprising that no one went for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, LB, is looking fairly close. I think they might get ahead of the top of the P2 and 3. There's a Ferrari off at turn 9 at the moment. He's gone back on. They're all in. The top 3 are all in. So where then do they come out? Matthias is coming through the hairpin now. That's the final corner. I think he might get out ahead of Lawrence. It's going to be close. Lawrence is making his way out of the pits now, so keep an eye on the, it won't be the right side of your screen now, but keep an eye on that track map at the moment. I think Lawrence is just going to get out ahead of both him and Matthias and his teammate. But, this is going to be very, very close coming out as well. LB just gets ahead of the 2 of them as they come out of the pit lane. That's going to be crucial for the racing ahead. But LB is going to have to employ some more slowing down tactics on those medium tyres. And he's got Matthias who's up in there. I think that McLaren might try and go to the end, Ghost.
I think he will. I think that's exactly what he's doing. He's going to find it very difficult, but he's going to try it. LB, like, well and truly, as we're going to see fastest laps coming in very quickly on those medium runners, Sumo.
Yeah, I think so, and there's going to be plenty of racing laps left. Oh man, I hope Matthias makes it, says Ryan in the chat. And well, we'll keep fingers crossed. We always like to see new faces on the podium, but
let's contact Femi into the back of LB, and Femi's going to think that that's LB's fault, because LB definitely deliberately slowed down there. It's a safety car, and LB has inadvertently made Lawrence's life much, much harder. That's a disaster, and LB, oh dear, what has he done? That is just reckless, it has to be said. Femi down to P6 with no front wing. He's going to be furious, but it's going to bring everyone back into this race, and especially Matthias. And Lawrence is going to be absolutely fuming when he finds out that his teammate is the one that caused that safety car.
Yeah, he is. And look, Matthias in, he is in. It's a double stack from McLaren. And this has helped Matthias. He's going to be right up there. New set of medium tyres. He'll definitely make it to the end now. No stress. And he's going to be up there. Goes. Tier has stayed out on the hards. LB, of course, staying out. Lawrence staying out, of course, as well. Those tyres are fresh. But Femi and Darth, I think they're going to come out close to each other, guys. This could be... this could continue on. Of nose change for... No, this is JBS Steve's going to get ahead of the Alfa Romeo at the moment. El Bra Racing says, it's El Bra Racing says Hamza in the chat. Bra Moment says Ryan Blair, yeah. Somebody's clearly made their name No Not, just to say No Not Femi, in the chat there. Hilarious. 9 likes on the stream, guys. One of you hasn't liked the stream, you know who you are. Please do like the stream, all the support does go a long way. We have a safety car here in Tier 2, and safety cars always up for drama in this championship. And, well, we've had plenty of that this race. Goes, talk us through some of the action for those just tuning in.
Well, I mean, what isn't there to talk about? Every lap has had action. It was a chaotic start. Matthias making up 6 positions at the start up into P2, and plenty of jostling for position up and down the grid. Femi Thrustmaster made a fantastic recovery from the back of the grid after his qualifying ban, all the way up to challenging for P2, and now after some contact, and Tier has somehow let Matthias through. I don't know quite what's happened there, but I think there's going to be some some safety car problems going on there, as Matthias is going to be let back through. Tier trying to get back past again, but it's not going to happen. And Matthias causing problems there. Maybe he went to AI.
Maybe. I'm sure that'll be in the stewards room a little bit later. So if Jack Laffer wanted a chill night this evening, he's definitely not going to get one. Tier 2 always throwing up some action, but yeah, we've had such a drama-filled race, and it's just going to continue to be for ignoring yellow flags, 5-second time penalty for Tier. So some safety car shenanigans. I think that might get removed. To be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to get that removed.
Room. Yeah, so that penalty won't be too impactful. Well, won't be impactful at all in his race. Actually, let's see. LB, hold up the cars. Can you confirm the message? So it's live out in the chat at the moment. So yeah, the engineer's doing it, and yeah, we might see more drama between Femi and LB. Of course, Femi serving a quali ban because he blocked LB in qualifying, and LB won't have done that on purpose. No. Well, not on purpose in the way that, you know, he's getting revenge for an event that happened last session. It's more on purpose to try and hold up, which Femi clearly wasn't prepared for at the time. So there's no bad blood, as they say, between the two drivers in that regard.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't by design. He just wanted to slow down Femi and Darth there to give his teammates some more time at the front. Safety car is in this lap, but yeah, it was just done very clumsily, and it's resulted in what you've seen. And Femi's going to be annoyed because that 3-second time penalty is now going to be a lot more important. Tier's got one as well. Sorry, no, that's the 5-second penalty. Tier doesn't have a track limits penalty, everyone, by the way. But yeah, it's a Mercedes 1-2. Lawrence is going to be hoping to extend the gap again, as he hopes that LB can yet again hold up the drivers behind him, especially the likes of Darth and Matthias on the medium tyres. And meanwhile, the Constructors' battle as well. JB's getting some crucial points over the Red Bulls.
Yeah, he is up in P6, and he could see himself a little bit further up. Anything goes, and I think Lawrence has already gone. He's gone early. He's caught his teammate napping. That's just what he needed to do as well. I think LB purposefully not going when Lawrence does, to try and give him that gap. but everybody away fairly cleanly. There's a bit of jostling for position further back. I think Fido Man and Femi Frostmaster are going in. Femi Frostmaster to the inside of turn 1. No way through. The long way around goes to Williams at the moment. It's going to be braking for the Alfa Romeo to try and find a way through, but no way through on Fido Man at the moment.
Crows are trying to find his way through as well in the Ferrari, but no.
Oh, they go side by side again. Sorry to cut you off. Goes as Femi and Fido Man down towards turn 5. And just in the braking zone, out breaks to Williams, and Femi Frostmaster up into P7. He'll be chasing up ahead. The two McLarens, I think, have switched places.
Yeah,
Darth
they
Miller's
did.
up into P4.
Darth made the move down the inside of his teammate. Matthias wasn't expecting it. It's a great move from the championship leader. He's up to P4, and look at how much faster those medium tyres are than the hards. It's just no contest whatsoever, and these guys are going to find it extremely difficult to keep the Mexican behind.
Yeah, it's all aboard the LB train at the moment. Tier could get involved fighting with LB at the moment as well, but the hard tyres are going to hold up everybody on the mediums, and once they do get past, the floodgates will be open. But Lawrence will have a gap, and here comes Thierry still get to the inside of LB, who's not really got much to defend with the Slipstream and the DRS. So it's Tier up into P2 at the moment. They're still side by side, I think, but the Williams up ahead of the Mercedes, and he'll look to try and use some of that pace he's had all race long. LB will try and get away past it as well. This DRS train is going to be quite the one to keep an eye on at the moment. Femi Frostmaster is up past JBS Steve, is into P6 now as well. He'll be eyeing up those McLarens from afar.
Yeah, it was a great move from Femi into the hairpin, and now LB back to defending again, but Darth has gone all the way around the outside. He's made it work on those fresher medium tyres, and he's done it up to P3. LB is going to be frustrated that he's let that go so easily. He's using the ERS to try and make another move. He's gone for it down the inside of Darth into turn 4. Can he make it stick? No, he can't. Darth just calmly keeps the foot round the outside. It's great stuff from the championship leader, and now he's got to just get past Tier, and he's only going to lose 3 points to his rival. He's done it already down the inside as Tier gets a poor entry, and Darth up to second place, and he's looking to only lose 3 or 4 points to his rival today, Lawrence.
Yeah, he is. He's been making opportunistic moves in these couple of laps, and I must say, this is looking like some Pommy Alex-esque action from Darth Hillerson from that last race. Matthias and Femi Frostmaster, they're going to come to blows as they go down the back straight now. Matthias has got LB just in front of him to give him some slipstream, but Femi Frostmaster's all over the back of that McLaren. He's already been fighting one McLaren today. He's going to have a go at the other now. Nowhere to go as LB is slow at the moment, and there's contact between the McLaren and the Mercedes. Femi Frostmaster is wildly off the circuit and joins back safely. Looks to the inside of the McLaren. He smartly pulls out of that one.
And Tier spun just ahead of them. I don't know if there was contact, but he's down to P9 now, and his hopes of winning this championship are slowly slipping away. Mr. J-Man up to P7 now as a result, past Tito Man and obviously the spun Tier. He's up into 7th place. JB, Femi and LB so close together, and Matthias is ahead of them into P3. It could be a double podium for McLaren here, but these three, LB, Femi, JB, all within a second of each other. And it's going to be racing all the way to the end here as Lawrence tries to hold on to fastest lap. That's going to be on his mind at the moment.
Oh, there's been an incident a bit further back. That's little Manny Man and Tier. I think Tier bringing out the yellow flags, a 3-second time penalty for Tier for track limits. So it wasn't long until he got one. At the moment, Femi Frostmaster, meanwhile, is all over the back of LB. He'll want to try and challenge for that podium, but the gap is, well, not too big. It's just outside of a second, and LB gets into that time. I think he's going to get DRS, which will help him down the straight at the moment. He's doing well on those hard tyres to keep the fight alive, but the laps are waning in this race here at the moment. Meanwhile, JBS Steve's continuing to go. Femi Frostmaster pulling to the inside in the meantime, and it's going to be side by side once again down towards turn 14. And it's still side by side. Is there going to be contact into the corner? There's not. Braking as late as he dares. It's the Alfa Romeo. LB looks for the switchback, but no way. It's a great move.
And Mr. J-Man round the outside of JB at the hairpin as well. He's up to P6. He's not done yet, but Darth gets the fastest lap, which is going to be annoying for Lawrence. That's a 2-point swing between the two of them, that fastest lap. hugely important for the championship as LB tries to get the better of Femi again, but no cigar. Those hards just aren't good enough to compete as Mr. J-Man, he is doing fantastically well to recover. He's used the safety car expertly, and he's not going to lose too many points after all, it seems, unless he spins again. I really hope not.
No, for sure he'll have LB in his sights now. He's closing in as that Mercedes continues to lack pace on that harder rubber. But Daphne Hillis has not really made much ground on Lawrence at the moment. They're just, that gap is sort of staying somewhat neutral between the two. Matthias could be still a factor in this race as Femi Frostmaster's caught onto the back of him now. But that penalty could hinder him and see the McLaren still onto the podium. And I don't think he'd have thought he'd be up this far in the race after qualifying goes.
Not at all. Yeah, that 3-second penalty is going to really frustrate him because he could easily have finished on the podium today, but I don't think he will thanks to that. Although, you never know, Matthias might have a penalty coming his way for the contact with Darth as well. Who knows? And LB could have one, so who knows? After all this, Mr. J-Man could find his way on the podium after the stewards are all done.
Yeah, for sure, and this is going to be a race that is going to continue to be fought well after the checkered flag in the stewards room. Of course, there's plenty of incidents to deliberate on at the moment. Femi Frostmaster looking to the inside, no way through for car number 50 at the moment. He'll be setting up a move on Matthias for sure, and he'll want to try and break that 3-second gap if he can.
Yeah, LB's completely dropped off Femi now, and he's just going to be looking to hold up Mr. J-Man now because he knows he is another title rival of Lawrence. LB just trying to be Sergio Perez today as Femi
off the circuit.
Wow, what happened there, Sumo?
I think he went to have a look at a move and just outbroke himself completely, had nowhere to go, avoided the McLaren and just went straight off the circuit. I had a horrible camera angle. I've had some horrible camera angles all race, but that's the best of what I could say had happened between Femi and Matthias there, and that's not helping Femi Frostmaster get past that McLaren anytime soon. Meanwhile, Mr. J-Man is looking for a way past LB, who's a bit of a roadblock at the moment on those hard tyres. It's all aboard the LB train once again, and it's many a car in there, and the two Ferraris will be looking to fight Mr. J-Man as hard as they can at the moment. And what's happened here, Matthias has had a bit of an incident, and that's caused Femi Frostmaster to have a look. They're going to be side by side again. It's Matthias defending, committing to the inside line. He's got no ERS left. Side by side again, breaks as late as he possibly can. Femi Frostmaster looks to set up a switchback, awful camera angles all around, but Matthias somehow defends that position. Spun. Femi Frostmaster has a look to the inside. J-Man has spun once again. The calamity for the Red Bull at the moment. It's Femi Frostmaster though, looking to the inside of Matthias once again as they head down to turn one. It's going to be side by side. Is it going to be contact? We saw it happen before. Matthias has a look to the inside, nowhere to go for the McLaren. The Alfa Romeo shuts the door and says thank you very much. That's P3.
Great stuff from Femi. He is up to third place. What a drive it's been, but those time penalties are going to cost him. Mr. J-Man is now going to steal the fastest lap. He's gone into soft sumo, and there we go. Lawrence, I mean, I think he'll be grateful if Mr. J-Man can steal it, because Darth has it at the moment, and anyone's better than him as far as he's concerned. But Mr. J-Man, he's going to lose so many points, and that spin is going to cost him massively here. There were only 3 laps to go. He's going to be gutted.
That could be his championship, though. It's all in that one moment there in China. I mean, if you fall that far back, there's 6 drivers in this championship fight, and any big points loss is going to see others of the drivers make their way up ahead in those points, and it's going to be a huge loss for Tier and J-Man. Little Manny Man will be a loss out as well. They'll lose out at some points at the moment, but Ferrari doing everything they need to close that gap down to Red Bull in the constructors at the minute. They're going to finish a solid 6 and 7. They might even benefit on some penalties post-race from Matthias. JBSD's got no penalties to his name at the moment, so could see himself up some further places as well, but the racing dying down a little bit. We've got 3 laps left to go as Lawrence has begun lap 26. And look at that gap, Ghost. It's coming down slowly. It's 2.3 seconds. It was 3 seconds a couple laps ago. So Daphne Hillis really putting on some pace and trying to catch up to Lawrence ahead.
Yeah, he's putting the pressure on, isn't he? He's not letting Lawrence just cruise away with this race win. He wants to at least make him sweat, even with only 3 laps to go. Obviously 2 rounds to go after this. Every point is absolutely critical, as you say. So Lawrence will be hoping not only to win the race, but for Mr. J-Man indeed to steal that fastest lap at the back. I think he will on the soft tyres. It'll be surprised if he doesn't. But LB trying to hold on to Matthias because he's under pressure from JB, and like you said, Ferrari doing a fantastic job at the moment. If it finishes like this, they'll gain 7 points on Red Bull, which will be enough to bring them within 12 with 2 rounds to go. As Kroos is out! I've just cursed him! Kroos is out of the race! And Ferrari, after looking so good, what have I done, Sumo? Oh no!
Oh no, he's crashed just out of turn 4. You can see him there at the marshal's post. Just that stricken Ferrari. Oh, they were running so well. They were doing everything they need to do, but just like the prancing horses in real life, they've thrown it all away.
They have indeed. I think he's just about done enough to get classified, but so he will still, that's going to be critical whether he gets classified or not, because if he doesn't get classified, that is pretty much championship locked in for Red Bull, because that's points they will gain. But if he gets classified, they will only Ferrari will still gain a point on them. So it's all about that classification, Sumo.
Yeah, it is. And we look now, we've got a on-track battle, and we've got a battle against time. There's 2 laps left of this race. Matthias is desperately holding on to P4. LB will try and find a way through in that Mercedes, but he's also looking ahead. He's got Femi Thrustmaster ahead of him. He's got a 3-second time penalty, and Matthias is only just sitting within it. 4 tenths is the gap between them in terms of the penalty at the moment, and it's fading away for the McLaren. He'll want to get on that podium for sure. He'll want to try and push as much as he can. I think both drivers will be doing that, and I'm not sure. It's now outside of 3 seconds. This could be tight.
Femi's got 6 though, Sumo. He's got 6 seconds of penalties. Yeah. Tears also coming for softs, going for the fastest lap here on the last lap, but LB is right behind this McLaren. He can see the flashing red light. He knows Matthias is vulnerable. He'll want to snatch this podium away with 1.5 laps to go. Here he goes to the hairpin. Matthias defends to the inside quite late, but LB is happy to stick around the outside, but Matthias forces him into the gravel. LB is going to be furious with that. It's got himself a penalty. I'm sure he'll get that removed, but it's going to invite JB ahead, and that's crucial for the constructors, as LB again round the outside of JB is going to let him back through. He thought the race was over. He thought that was the last lap, Sumo. Oh no.
He's done it again. Oh, well, how many times has he done that now? I mean, I want to talk. I've done that multiple times, but LB, come on. He's given up a place now, and that's invited Federman up into P6. He got 1 more lap, LB. Keep going.
And JB nearly spinning out of turn 4 there, just about holding on. Could be on track for a podium as well. 5.5 seconds to Femi. Who knows what could happen here? But it's Mr. J-Man did attempt the fastest lap, but he didn't get it. He was 2 tenths off. So Darth still has the fastest lap as it stands. How critical is that going to be? Tito Man with a little bit of a spin as well. Mr. J-Man trying desperately to get fastest lap. Has now had a half spin, so he's definitely not getting it. Tier could still get it though, as the top 2 head into the last couple of corners.
Yeah, that gap significantly come down, and Nihilius needed a few more laps just to get it. JBS Steve could be looking on for a podium here if he can get past the McLaren. We'll quickly cut back to the front as Lawrence is going to cross the line to win the Chinese Grand Prix here in Tier 2, with Daphne Hillers fighting hard to get there as well. Femi Thrustmaster is going to come across the line in P3, but is it going to be Matthias or JBS Steve, Ferrari or McLaren? It looks like it's going to go the way of McLaren. It's a double McLaren podium.
No, it's not. Femi got enough time.
Femi got enough time.
He's up to 3rd place. He's done it. Matthias defended too hard against JB. He tried to do the same thing he did to LB, but it's lost him time and it's lost him the podium. And Femi, I think, has probably the most deserved podium of the season so far. What a fantastic drive. And I don't know about you, Sumo, I think we can wrap up Driver of the Day already.
Yeah, there's no question. Femi Busmaster Driver of the Day, we'll do it right now. Right here, right now, there's still cars racing on the track, but that's going to be that wrapped up. We just wait. Tia and J-Man, we've had such a race. My throat is hurting, Ghost. I've been properly going for it. I'm going to have a...
Tia gets fastest lap, he got it!
Fastest lap!
That's so important for the championship. Daphne Hillis, it takes that, has that point wrestled off him. Lawrence now has a 3-point advantage over his rival, and he catches up, and he's now going to be only 5 points behind with 2 rounds to go, Sumo.
Wow. Another shouting fast driver of the day from the game as well, and well deserved for Femi Busmaster. So fully confirmed then as well. But yeah, well, we've got some interviews to do, guys. My voice will just hold up. I mean, Zach won't be too happy if I turn up on Thursday with a sore throat for the finale of GT3. But we'll head over to the other chat for a brief moment as we get our interviews underway.
Yeah, I will join you.
Celebrating with that bottle of champagne. The last time he was on the top step was in Japan, for those who would like to know. But it's Lawrence then, flanked by Daphne Hillis and Femi Busmaster. That is your podium here for the Chinese Grand Prix, and we'll be talking to the top 3 in just a few moments' time. Matthias comes home in P4, a great drive, and I think the stewards will be looking into some of his defensive manoeuvres after the race has concluded. Steve rounds off the top 5 then with Fido Man coming home P6, a good race for the Williams actually after not having the best of qualifying. LB P7 with Little Manny Man, Tia and J-Man rounding off the top 10. Krauser rounding off the rest of the drivers who finished, with Henry and the Tannell not finishing the race.
Wow, what a fantastic race that was. Just all 3 of you, make sure your party audio settings are right. Set it to always allow on other people's streams in the party audio settings. But I think, Sumo, I'll let you come to our race winner. First of all, Lawrence.
Lawrence, it's the top step of the podium for you. A big congratulations. You haven't been on that top step since Japan, and that's going to be quite crucial for your championship, I'm sure. Talk us through the race. It was one that was hard fought, but some key teamwork played part in the race, and you had the pace to just keep the Hillis away from you for the allotted amount of laps.
Huge shout out to LB for making that possible. I think don't think without him I wouldn't have probably won that race. Daphne Hillis was just too fast in that last stint for sure. I've never had the last 5 laps just go so slowly in my life. It just would not. They just would not tip away, and it was safety car was poorly timed. I mean, me and LB I was trying to tell LB to go in the pits for mediums, but he thought I was going in the pits for mediums, so unfortunately he missed out there as well, which I'm a bit gutted about too. Congratulations to Daphne Hillis and Femi on the podium as well.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like quite an, I mean, for the most part, a quiet race, but those opening laps were quite scrappy. I mean, the fighting's going to continue to get more intense, and, you know, the championship is going to be on the line, and I suppose, you know, you're not one to shy away from the front of the grid, Lawrence, and, you know, these last 2 races, what's it all going to be about?
Just keeping it clean. Just not hoovering up any silly penalties for me as well. Extra challenge is also the racing line. I think on this one is the back of Darth in the opening laps. I had to go off track pretty much. Just be clean, be consistent, but as well, I'm sure the others will be taking that into account as well. I'd like to think the majority of the time it has been fairly clean up front, so yeah, hopefully we're in for a good last few races.
Yeah, hopefully so, and I mean, we'll all be rooting for you despite the impartiality. I mean, we're rooting for everybody, but well done today, and hopefully you'll be continuing to be up on the podium so that we can interview you for these last few races. Well done, Lawrence.
Thank you. Great job as always, guys.
I'll hand over for Ghost. You can interview our P2 sitter. I believe it was Darth the Hillers.
Absolutely. Well, Darth, that was a great recovery. I'm sure you were happy to see the safety car when it came out, but nonetheless, fantastic recovery after a bit of a McLaren catastrophe in the first stint. But still, I'm sure you'll be happy with P2, only losing 3 points to Lawrence and still having the championship lead heading into Baku.
First of all, congratulations to Lawrence. Like, he was really quick on that first stint, but I'm just really pissed all around. I don't know what my teammate was doing. I was ahead of him. Like, I don't know. I just felt the heat, and it's like this almost every week. It's really frustrating because I'm doing things right and I get punted. Like, and it's always a recovery drive, and I just it's really pissing me off at the moment. The safety car, like, it was the same. I was aiming at a P2, like, not much to really. Thankfully, it came at the end with Lawrence. Like, I was catching him a lot in that second stint. I think it was the right decision to pit again for a fresh mediums, even if the previous set was like one lap old. But like, I said, like, well, I need to take every chance I have and keeping it clean. But from that, I don't know. On those first few laps I received, I felt like were a lot of hits from everywhere. I don't know, my hard tires were completely toasted. I need to review and see what needs to be done, but I'm not happy really.
Well, understandably, but I mean, I'm sure I'm sure the adrenaline's still running at the moment. But when you look at the standings tomorrow, and you're going to see your name still on top. With a 5-point gap to Lawrence, and I'm not sure about the others. I didn't work it out for the others, but I think nonetheless it's still going to be a decent result for you. And heading into the last 2 rounds, how are you feeling for Baku especially?
Baku, I don't think I'm that slow, so that's a good thing. But yeah, I'll take it race by race, session by session. But I think it's gonna be close with Lawrence. We'll see. I don't want to pressure myself too much.
Fair enough. Well, that's the right mentality to take. Yeah, your life will have been gotten a lot easier with Mr. J-Man's spin. He could have gotten himself a very good position today, but that spin at the end cost him a huge amount. So it's probably all going to be about you and Lawrence, but who knows? Femi might get his way up there as well. It's far from over, and Baku obviously can be a lottery. So, well, I suppose the last question I wanted to ask you was when the safety car did come out, what was going through your mind? Did you think you might be able to get the race win, or did you always think that it was going to be a race for P2 and then see what happens?
It was more of a race of see what happens, because Lawrence was ahead before when we did the pit stops, and I think it was LB, Tyr, and Matthias pretty much were in front. Like, they had the undercut, quote unquote, because they pitted earlier, so they had that advantage. So it was always going to be a matter of overtaking them. I saw LB getting 4 new tires, so I thought that would be even more difficult to catch Lawrence at the end. Maybe that those few seconds that I lost fighting those guys meant the race win, but nothing to complain really.
Well, great job on securing that second place and keeping hold of the championship lead. But I will hand back over to Sumo to interview our driver of the day, Femi.
Femi Thrustmaster, you're becoming a regular on the podium, a regular for driver of the day, and despite a qualifying ban at the start of this session, you went from P13 to finish P3 on the podium. Talk us through your race.
Well, thank you. Look, I mean, I was a bit, lack of a better word, pissed off with the decision that was, that kind of gave me the penalty. But I kind of sat there last night and I thought I can either still on it or I can put a bit of a shift in tonight and try and do something today. And so I did a bit of practicing, and I tried to channel that frustration and put good racing. And so third I'm ecstatic with that, especially qualifying last. It's a really rough track to overtake on. So yeah, really, really happy. I couldn't ask for any more, really.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly seemed that the channeling that frustration just showed itself on the circuit. You were making some great overtakes. You had a great battle with Daphne Hillis at one point as well. There was a bit of contact with LB there, though, and it seems you two are going to be well, coming together quite frequently at the moment. And just any comments on that incident during the race?
Yeah, he put in the chat that he's having issues with the setup on exits, but I don't think I'd buy that. I will probably report it. I think it was a bit of a cheeky accelerate then brake quite heavily out the exit of the corner, so I couldn't get him on the straight. It felt dodgy to me. So I then hit the wall, lost my front wing. It all worked out at the end, thankfully. I ended up put some brand new tyres on and got back up to third. But yeah, I thought that was a little bit cheeky on his part, to be honest.
I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, I'm sure the stewards will take a look at that and have the best sort of look at the race again. But yeah, your championship standings are well, they're looking incredibly promising at the moment, and we've got 2 rounds left. Are you looking to the top step, or are you still sort of staying conservative and just trying to get the best out of what you can do?
I think conservative, because Darth and Lawrence are both very, very talented. I'm also shockingly bad at Baku, awful at Baku. So there's nothing happening nice there if I even survive the race completely. So no, just do my thing, see what happens. Again, as you said, I think it was to Lawrence earlier. It's a race that anything can happen, quite frankly. So if everyone would like to have a bit of a first corner incident, take each other out, give me the win, then maybe. But we'll see.
You certainly will, and I'm sure Ghost and I will hold you to that. When this time next week, because you find yourself once again on the podium, so expect some of that perhaps. But well done for today, Femi, and our driver of the day and P3 sitter, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good night, guys.
Well done, Femi.
Thank you.
Well, that's it. That's going to wrap everything up for this evening. MX says if he hits 10 penalty points, does he get an interview as well? MX, if you want an interview, we'll invite you to a party and we'll give you an interview just for you. How about that? Ghost and I will facilitate, of course. But anyway, yeah. So Ghost, wrap up the race for us. Well, I'll say in a few words, but just wrap up the race.
Tier 2 have chaotic but fantastic race around China. How about that?
Are you trying to make a haiku or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. The next one has to be 7 syllables.
Yeah. Oh dear. But yeah, it was certainly a chaotic race, and we're going to be in for some more of that. As has been mentioned a couple of times, next week we head to Baku, and in the week after that, on the 21st of March, is the finale at Interlagos. What a track that's going to be to have our finale. But we turn our attention to next week then, as we head to Azerbaijan for the penultimate round of this championship. Daphne Hillis is going to lead the way for the drivers, with Red Bull leading the way in the constructors. It's all still to play for, and you can catch all of that action right here on my channel and on Ghost's channel as well, if you want to see the onboard action as well. So you can have both streams up if you're lucky enough to have multiple monitors or swap in between the streams. So make sure you go over to Ghost's channel, give him all the support, give myself some support as well, like the stream, subscribe to the channel. I'll be doing plenty more commentary as I continue to go along and pursue it. But anyway, I'm going to wrap things up now. We've had an incredible race here, Ghost, and yeah, well, any final thoughts?
Well, the championship is alive and well, and JB getting that good finish, and I would be absolutely shocked if Matthias didn't get any post-race penalties. So JB is likely going to get himself into 4th place, which is massive for the constructors. And I think Crozer will just about be classified, which is also massive for the constructors. It's going to be really close. I think Ferrari will have gained maybe 5 points or so, 4 points or something like that on Red Bull, which is going to bring the gap to about 15 points with 2 rounds to go. And one of those rounds is Baku, where anything can happen. So both championships are still well and truly on.
Yeah, they certainly are. But that's going to be your lot for this evening. So thank you for everybody who tuned in, everybody who took part on the live chat. But for now, I have been Sumo.
I have been Ghost.
And we will see you this time next week for